Good afternoon. This is LIGHTBOB TV. It's Friday, and today we're going to talk about the lighting market. And um, yeah, so as I was developing this, and there will be some ambient noise because outside of my studio, they're making all kinds of sound tests. So it will be a bit, and I'll try to stay closer to the mic so we don't get too disturbed by it. But this webinar, what I want to talk about, I'll just put that down, is very simple. Um, I'm going to talk about seminar, webinar, or masterclass. Which one build you authority and is trust, and also is good for developing business. And 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 these three are very strong subject because first they bring you education. You bring educational product. You are also positioning yourself. You're developing your audience. You offer design service and design strategy. Uh, and of course, there's monetization, and it helps your ecosystem to grow. So let's have a deeper dive on uh, on those three, and I don't think one of them is better than the others. I think it's a combination of all of them that makes a certain any trade basically, that lighting or anything else, that makes it worthwhile. And I'm very, very sorry about the noise. And I think I'm going to postpone this episode. Oh, well, they seem like they may turn it down a little bit. But both of all of the three are important, as I was saying. Why? Because they attract each one different audience. And as a service provider or as a business, you need to have different people, a flow of people coming in, and so that you can promote and you can expand your business. Um, if you let's say you focus on only one and it's the wrong one, then you have no growth. You have no income. You have no expansion happening. So the idea is to really get it to expand and touch as many field as you can. So the million dollar question is that, what are you going to talk about? And what platform are you going to use, and how long should it be, and the real purpose is basically is what do you want to do with your event, and what is it that really triggers you, because the first person that has to be convinced is you. If you're not convinced, and if you're not motivated, and if you don't do it, of course it's never going to happen. And then you're going to have the wrong audience, you're going to have the wrong expectation, you're going to have the wrong offer, and your outcome will never be a strong outcome, because the content is never the problem. It's the alignment, how it aligns with you, how it aligns with your purpose, and what you are doing, does it mean something to you or not? So when we talk about seminars, we're talking about a broader, more formal, more educational format, um, often in an institution or in an industry facing area. And seminars are really good for like the audience of seminars. You have association, you have design firm, you have manufacturer partners, you have continuing education environment, very large group, seminars are perfect for that. Now, the type of energy that it brings is very professional, and has to be structured, and it's very credible because you bring a lot to the table, so as the audience. It's a very even if it's not an interactive, it could be if you have microphone in the space, if you have different workshop or different uh, learning material. So it's more a general like overview. It's less intimate, and it's good for your visibility. It's good. It has by invitation, shows your authority. So all of those factors are good to build your public authority. Seminar, perfect for that. And those are also good for, like, let's say you're thinking about topics. What do you talk? Well, you can talk about fundamentals, like lighting fundamentals for architect. You can talk about the non-technical stuff. You can talk about lighting design at a very high altitude. You can talk about residential and strategy and commercial strategy. You can bring guest speaker. So these are ideas and ways that you can monetize a seminar. Now, when we do uh, webinars are more direct. It's more accessible. It's oriented towards lead. It's more oriented and very practical for business development. It's a very good to attract um, prospect. Let's say you want to test something, testing interest. It's perfect for that. You want to create a follow-up conversation. You want to introduce a problem and have ideas on a certain solution. Webinar is perfect for that. It's very focused. It's useful. It's a low barrier entry, so you don't need to have like a major setup. You can just go. It's easier to attend. Nothing very formal. Of course, there's a registration and consultation and other service you can provide, uh, and it's a very direct place. So and some of the area where I use it is, let's say I'm on a project and I need a senior lighting designer. Well, I will create a webinar. I will talk, and then I will see who is my best candidate for hiring. Um, let's say I want to talk about uh, something. I want to test some theory or some project on how to uh, price a project, and I would say, well, seven mistake costing for project finance. And I'm French, so maybe I will rephrase it a little better. Or let's say how lighting is introduced too late on a design project. So this would be amazing subjects for a webinar. And again, could be talking about lighting strategy. I could be talking about lighting control. The subject will be very specific, and it will be on one topic. One topic is always good to exploit it on that specific webinar. Now, but for the past, I would say the past 20 years, I have contributed to probably a dozen different master class. Very, very very deep subject, and it's a very selective group of people that you want to have there, because of the pricing. It's a premium product, and 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 it has to be transformational. So what does that mean? Is that they come in and you have to help them to bring them to the next level. And because it is a very specific products for a very specific audience, it will become, it's easy. I will say it's easier because somebody that makes, let's say, $1 million a year, if you increase 10% is 100,000. Somebody that makes 10,000, you increase 10% is 1,000. So of course, 100,000 have a much more bigger impact on a yearly budget than 1,000. But and that's why there is a premium for that, because I can take anybody at one level and bring them to the next level by helping them on one specific topic. And it's not just information, is that I have time to sit down. I have a very limited group, and I give them hands-on practice. I will have them to work on a specific project. I will have them to bring their project or their problems so that we can work on it, and then have 10 different problems resolve at the same time. Um, this is the kind of framework that masterclass does. And also, my typical methodology is the same, is that I try to lead by example. Unlike a seminar or a webinar, a masterclass for me is where I come in and I have a program, and I know by the end of that program that they're gonna be transformed. They're gonna have a change. They're gonna have learned something that they can apply today, and they will have practice and 2, 3, 4 example, so that and the example and the practice for me are very important, because it's not a theoretical. You have one day to go and apply and develop and execute a transformation. So you got to get at it. So it's a very high level, um, a, a very high level work, very exclusive. Normally, well, not normally, I never talk about the content of my master class, because it's just experience, and I know formula that are working, have worked for me, work for other people, and I know that this is, it's just a, a deeper level of trust that brings you to a result faster. And of course, the fact that I've been doing this for 4 decades, uh, I bring a lot to the table, and I don't let anybody come out unless they have a win. And sometimes it's fast. Sometimes some people, they just have a little bug and boom, done. Or some other will need a follow up. They will need to talk, come back, you know, and get some consulting hours, get a package, get a proposal together, and move on to. But most of the time, 90% of the time, after one day, you can apply these results into something practical. And that's what you have to think about a master class. If you're planning to do a master class, you take one subject, one part of your knowledge that you master very well, and you position it in a premium, area. You'll get some very serious buyer, because and you'll build also a long time relationship, because when you help somebody at that level, they it changed their life. You're helping people change their life. And I'm not talking just about money, because of course there is a financial issue attached to it, to the cost, to the time involvement, because one day of your life is a lot of time spending with one person. But this is where you have the clarity and you become laser focused, and you have a formula that you can apply and repeat day after day, that that's going to be you know producing some result. And that is where you get acknowledged, and also you get to see the transformation in front of your eyes. You see somebody take your formula, take your intellectual property, and bring it to another level, and it's phenomenal, phenomenal. So basically, you're building your ownership, of a method. This is how we do. So for me, I mean, over the year, I work in the landscape business, landscape lighting. I work in custom. I work with manufacturers. I work with, and the latest one I decided to do is a master class on how to, for people that have problem, communicate their lighting design intent to clients. Could be in residential, could be in commercial, could be sales, could be, and that master class, which I'm starting next month on my birthday, April 4th, will cover. It's a very very hand-on three exercise during the day from 8 in the morning till 5. And I'll link for you. I'll post a link pretty soon so that you can go and see the structure, how it's done, what it does, so that you have a real example on how I operate. So again, seminar, you get your authority. The webinar, you generate lead because you have a big, and then your master class. What's happening is that now you're positioning, you as an expert. So all of that is part of your branding, and I recommend to do the three of them. Why? Because first of all, you need practice. You need to practice. You need to start somewhere. And if you think you're going to do your first seminar and everything's going to be perfect, forget about it. And the same thing with the webinar and the masterclass. It's funny because when I started to look at where was I winning, in the past, before I retired. And I didn't remember that I was giving masterclass. I totally forgot about it. And I start to think about one of my friends that's giving seminar, and I help him out. Like, oh yeah, we do this, we do this. I said, oh yeah, I used to do that. And then I started looking in my computer, my notes, and then I found my file of all the webinar I gave, all the seminar, and all the masterclass. It was just phenomenal. So, this idea of the LIGHTBOB TV is also part of that chain of dissemination that I'm doing. As I told you, I'm doing it for this guy, my son, but also for the public, because I understand that not everybody learned the same way. And also I believe in sharing. I mean, I was blessed. I had so many amazing people in my life that came and gave me all kinds of knowledge, and knowledge and secrets and trades. And so for me to share it with you is the same thing. And the part of it, you have to endure that I'm French and there's noise around, or there's construction, or this and that. But in every episode, you will find that you have nuggets. And when you start putting them together, you'll see that why I'm doing this, and why I give, and why I want to give more, because I realize that this is a dying art. There's not many of us, in my generation that have experience that can share it. Yes, you can watch some YouTube video. Yes, you can listen to some podcasts. Yes, you can do this. This is just an addition to all that. Having somebody that comes live and tells you about how he sees lighting life and how he's been living it for 4 decades. How I had this amazing life of creative and in lighting, what it all brought to me, and still today, I'm still I still contact manufacturer. I still talk to clients. I still do prototypes. I still all of this is still part of my daily life. And God bless my wife. She gives me the freedom to experiment and to do more. When when I told her, I said, "Oh yeah, by the way, I bought 4 3D printer and I'm gonna put them in the garage, and this is gonna be my little prototype lab." She bust up laughing, but she was happy because she sees that it bring me joy, something that I love. And then I show my son, and now my son when I have downtime, he creates little himself, you know, things that is fun and is creating. So any other job wouldn't give me that flexibility. So as an example, let's see how that works. You guys are watching me, and you listen to my webinar, and you look at different days, and every day I come in and I talk to you about things, and then I will eventually start to promote my own webinar. And then I will invite you to Florida to come to a seminar or come to a master class and attend for a 3 day, because right now I'm doing a 1 day master class and I'm working on a 3 day master class. And that way you'll be able to come to Florida, hang out, and develop your skill as a lighting expert. So this is also what will bring me some more fractional work, because as I told you, as a fractional lighting designer, what I want to do is I want to help firms. I want to help people to grow their firms, to have their staff a bit more hands-on, to show them a different way of working, uh, to standardize their practice, because when you grow fast, there's few things that you're missing, that are dropping off, and sometimes you're so into the forest you don't see the tree, right? So that's the contribution that I'm doing, and why I'm doing all this, because I was thinking, what can I do very fast to launch? And again, like I told you, for 15 days today. Uh, I mean, and I have ideas, and I wrote program, and I'm gonna start to work on little graphic for the front, when you arrive, and maybe have some infomercials and this and that. But it was very, very fast to launch my webinar. This series of LIGHTBOB TV, I launched it in probably 2 days. And now, like I said, I want to do 100 episodes. I want to make it more consistent. And I want to also be consistent on the topics, on the way that I deliver to you. Practice more. Have in my preparation right now, I spend about 30 minutes a day to prepare. I want to have a little bit more. I want to start to create a couple agents that are going to give me some ideas on subjects to talk about, although I have a lot of file that I can just pull in. And I want to also have some camera that I can show you drawings and samples and all kinds of other things that will enhance the experience of the webinar. It's funny because I was talking to one of my friends earlier, and and I was just telling him, that I was doing this, and he said, "How many people watching you live?" I said, "0." And I don't care. because I know that some people watch after, some people watch later, some people, will watch 10 minutes there, 15 minutes there, and this is what I'm going for right now. It is my test period. So I'm testing, I'm looking, I'm making sure that what I'm saying and my content is organized, all the technology surrounding this works well. uh, I'm probably going to move it somewhere where I don't have to deal with the sound, or I'll start by trying to insulate, but it's a uh, pretty distracting environment. So I'll fix that, etc., etc. So all of this is part of this webinar discovery. Now, seminar has a different area because now you start to move somewhere else, and you start to expand your credibility. And I did a lot of seminars. I did seminars in light fairs. I did seminars in Italy. I did seminar in Mexico. I did some all over the world, in hotels and in trade shows. I mean, it's amazing. I love seminar because what it does is also opening doors for the industry. Because when other people hear you and they come after and they say, "Hey, Bob, I really like what you talked about. Do you think we can have a conversation about this?" Or even my partners. Sometimes I will tell them, people that I work with, manufacturers or other designers or architects. I invite them, and I said, "Thank you very much. It was very informing, and we got to meet these people, and then we got to do this, and we got to do that." So again, the environment is very focused. When I do a seminar in a trade show, as an example, I would go around before my seminar, and I would talk to people so that I can give practical example of what's happening. Now, masterclass, of course, it's a very intense moment because you are very intimate. You have a very specific um, uh, topic and focus, and the audience already, the trust is very high, so they know who you are. They love what you do, and they know they're going to get a result. They're very motivated. So yeah, where do you start? You start with you can start anywhere. I'm not going to tell you that you cannot start with a webinar, or you cannot start with a seminar or a master class. You feel as you go, and you will also see, what is your priority and how much time you're willing to invest. And what I would recommend you, the way that I always did anything, is that if you find somebody that does what you like, a speaker, it is a very it's okay to go talk to them and ask them for advice, and start taking a little notepad and take notes of what you see. Start to maybe look, what they have, what material they have, what are they using, what kind of technology they're using to disseminate, to show do they use slide, do they use projector, do they use TV, do they use example, do they use prototype, do they use I mean, there, all of this will become your own, and then you see how you would feel, and then you practice with your own flavor. And that's what I tell people. I said there's no perfect way to do it. There's just your way. That's it. And you feel comfortable, and you're gonna improve something. And the other thing that I would recommend is take a notebook and go minute by minute, like a movie script. Start describing, like, everything you do and what happened, and that will help you to foresee what's coming up, what's next, what do you do during the break, when do you eat, when do you go pee, when the all of these little things, what are you introduced, if you bring all your material at the beginning, people are distracted. So if you want to give handout or sample or this, wait at the end so they'll stay, and at the end they get the reward. Um, and like I said, it's always good to go see other, and especially professional, because they have a team around them that's always preparing. And on that, that's about it for this week, the end of this week. I'm sorry about the noise, uh, but I had no control. I didn't know they were doing sound tests at 1:30 in the afternoon, which is good, for them, not for me. And also, like I said, I almost canceled the episode, but I realized that, I will have to do it another time anyway, and I'm all ready, and they go on and off, and you will probably understand, and we'll get better at this. I will get better at this. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very, very much. Today is my 15th day. And next Monday, we're going to talk about source. And now we're getting into a more deep dive into source, which is amazing. I started to put stuff. So we're going to talk about, yeah. Next week, we're going to talk about, you see that those words on that mirror there. So this is my different topics now. So Monday, we're going to talk about the control accessory for source. Like on a light source, what is it that we use to control them? On this, I wish you a happy weekend, and I'll see you Monday. Thank you.